to you, or we can just go straight through. Hi, Noah, and welcome
It's all good. You can go straight through if you want.
Hi, Noah, and welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to share your story. As I start all of the interviews, how did you get started in motorsports?
Pretty much like everyone else, just watched the V8s on TV when I was little, and then eventually got a go-kart for Christmas one year, and then here we are.
Fantastic. And what age was that?
6. I got a go-kart when I was 6 and did that at home on a dirt oval track, and then obviously you can't start racing until 7, so then I started racing when I was 7, and yeah.
And do you live like near the dirt oval track? Like that's for me, like I love a speedway, but I've never been around much of dirt karting, but it's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we just sort of had one on our farm at home. We just sort of made one with our tractor in one of the paddocks and just marked out the corners with some cones, and then that was how most weekends were spent. So yeah.
That's even better. I love that. And do you have like brothers and sisters and stuff that you did that with?
No, it was just me. So it was just me and Dad at the time. So yeah, we just did that for a bit of fun. And at that stage, you think you're actually in a V8 supercar, but you're very far from it at that stage. So yeah.
And did your dad have an interest in motorsports as well?
He had an interest in the V8 supercars, touring cars, when it was sort of Brock, Johnson, those guys, and then but he never could really sort of get into it. So then when I had an interest, we sort of both got into it, and then we're on this journey.
Oh, fantastic. And tell us a little bit about the journey. You said you've been racing since you're about 7. And yeah, you've been through karting, Formula Ford. Tell us about it.
So yeah, I did karting for 6 or 7 years, and we did that initially. Just started off at like your club level stuff, and then we went to what they call like a Southern Zone level, which is like Southern Star Series. And then we started off going to state level racing, and we did all right there. Then we eventually went to nationals, did that for a few years, and then once I won in nationals in juniors, I was about would have been 15. Then we decided to start testing Formula Ford, and we were just testing at that stage because a lot of people drive them and don't like them. But fortunately, I drove it, and fortunately, I drove one, and I was pretty quick off the bat. So then we decided to move to Formula Ford. We went with CHE Racing, which obviously were the dominant force last year with Tom and myself coming first and second in the series, and the year before that with Lachlan Manif as well. So had some good results in Formula Ford, and then progressed to Formula 3 this year.
Fantastic. And so how old are you now?
I'm 17, turning 18 this year.
Awesome. And how do you find the difference between the Formula Ford and the Formula 3?
A lot of people struggle to wrap their heads around them. Like guys I know, like Josh Buchan, and that he's told me that it can take time to wrap your head around it. But we did a lot of work with the team in pre-season to make sure I was ready, so we weren't sort of behind before round one, because they are another step up physically, like especially on your neck and like the G-forces and that.
Yeah.
So as long as you're prepared, like the jump isn't that big, and also like with doing simulator work and stuff is helps to bridge that gap sort of thing. So yeah, the jump isn't that big because driving style from a Formula Ford to a Formula 3 isn't that much different. Obviously, they're both open wheel and both sort of a slick tyre. Well, Formula Ford's semi-slick tyre and the Formula 3 is a slick tyre. So the driving style is pretty similar. And obviously, I was coached very well last year, both by Cameron Hill, who's driven a lot of open wheel cars, and in the Super 2 this year, obviously knows what he's doing. So he's helped to bridge that gap, and also guys like John Collins that are helping me this year, who are previous Formula 3 champions. It's helped to sort of fast track me to, what would have been a top 5 guy to a top 2 guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you're currently winning the championship?
yeah, currently leading the championship by 3 or 4 points, I think, after round one. But no, this year's championship's very close. And round one was at Sydney, which was good. That was a good way to start the year. Formula 3, we had a few cars, but we're looking to, the series is still building. Obviously, the FIA, F3, and F2 has been very popular with guys like Piastri and Callum Williams. So there's a lot of kids coming through now into Australian F3 and then looking to go overseas. So yeah, the category is building, which is good. And yeah, I think we'll have 20 or 25 odd cars at Tail and Bend, so that'll be good.
Fantastic. So you mentioned, Noah, you did a lot of work fitness-wise off-season. Of course, I love that kind of thing. So can you tell me a little bit about what that actually involved?
Well, for me, it was pretty much just a bulk up from Formula Forward because I was quite thin in Formula Forward because, yeah, I was just thin. So coming into Formula 3, we knew that the things were going to be hard to hold on to. So just put on a lot of muscle mass and made sure I had the upper body strength to be able to hold on to them because obviously no power steering and the G forces through the corners are quite high. So we just worked on upper body strength, neck strength, and I already had the cardio base done because I did a lot of running and swimming in the past. So I had that base to work from, and then it was just sort of bringing my strength capabilities up from where they were. So yeah.
Awesome. And have you tailored off now that you've actually gone back to racing, or what's your fitness program looking like now?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was like we were smashing it out quite heavily each day for about 6 or 7 weeks. And then sort of before, we sort of do our prep still before each round, but it's not as, I guess the intensity is not as high because we don't want to get injured during the season. So we sort of just bring it back to 85%, 80% to still obviously keep the size on and keep the cardio up. But yeah, pre-season is the time to do it, as you would know, because obviously if you get hurt, then you've got time to recover. But yeah, we still train during the year. Or I know a lot of other drivers don't, which is surprising. And obviously it shows in the longer races when people start to fall off. And you don't necessarily have to be the fastest driver, but if you're the fittest driver, it pays dividends. So that's been very crucial for me this year. So yeah.
Awesome. Now you mentioned you had a big influence from Cam and from John. Is there anyone else who's been a big influence in your motorsport career?
Obviously, obviously Dad initially, and then once I got to Formula Ford, it was pretty much all Cam and Tom, even Lachlan Manif initially. But yeah, Cameron's been the biggest influence so far, and then now John Collins and Chris Gilmore as well, because he's doing a few test days and a few races this year. So, and he's obviously won the championship as well. So when he comes out, he's really good to lean on with all his experience. Like he's been driving F3 nearly the length of I've been alive. So yeah, it's good to lean off those guys. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to following Cam this year as much as everyone else is. He's a really good guy, and I hope he goes well in the Super 2 because he's not only a good coach, but through those 2 years we bonded a good friendship as well because we're not like he's not that much older than me. So guys like that, yeah, they've been really good.
Yeah, he's a beautiful man, Cam. And so what's your long-term goal with racing? Is it to go overseas like Oscar and so forth, or is it to stay here in Australia and do supercars, or just wherever it goes?
I'd like to ideally follow Scott McLaughlin, so do supercars here, put my name on the map, and then do IndyCar or something like that because I do like the open wheeler idea. It's once anyone drives a Formula 3, open wheelers are pretty cool. So I'd still like to do. My dream has always been supercar, so I'd like to tick that off the list and win a few championships like McLaughlin did, and yeah, pretty much just follow Scott McLaughlin's footsteps. I think he's done really well with how he's done it each year, going from a few years of Dunlop series, and then when he went into the main game, he was fast straight away. So the way he prepared himself was really, really good. Step to it's really like it's he did it the correct way, and yeah, it'd be good to follow in those steps. I know I've spoke to him a few times about it, and he's been successful in IndyCar so far, and he said that's come from driving a V8 supercar because they're pretty hard to drive with the skinny tires and the with the high amount of horsepower they've got. So yeah.
Awesome. That's very exciting. And so you've got it kind of all mapped out. I mean, you've got some wonderful sponsors on hand that are supporting you, and that they're going to be part of that journey, hopefully going to Indy or supercars at least.
Yeah, so I'd like to do Super 3 next year, and then 2 years of Super 2, and then hopefully make it into the main game, and then do my time there, and then hopefully go on to IndyCar, or if not, stay in Australia. I'd be happy to do that still and cement myself as a Jamie Whincup or a Craig Lowndes, and then yeah, so yeah, looking forward to see where it could end up.
Yes, me too. That's very exciting. And so when it comes to the off-track side of development, is this what you're doing now full time? Have you left school, or are you studying, or is motorsports all in focus, or what's your day?
Yeah, we're all in focus this year to obviously the goal is to win the championship. So when I'm not back home, I'm working with Gilmore Racing. So we're just preparing the car because we're only a one car team, so it's really good to. It's probably a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. It's a good thing because all the focus is on me. It's on one car, and we can do the job. So I'll help prep the car during the week. There's not many guys that work on the car. It's a pretty small team compared to others. But being around the car most days of the week's obviously always going to help. So, and it's helped with. I know what the car's going to do if the guys change something. I know I've learnt set up quite quickly, and learning like if I have to help in and fix it, I can. So, but other than that, we also do stuff like other work, normal work. We do. There's another business within Gilmore Racing, and we do roll cages for XLs. They do general servicing and fabrication and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really good.
Keeping busy. And what about the off-track development side of things? So like with your sponsors and stuff, is that something that you're getting yourself and you're working on proposals and having meetings with sponsors, or is mum or dad or someone else still helping you with the sponsorship side of things?
Yeah, a little bit, but mostly Lachlan Mansell helps a lot with press releases and writing stuff like that, and getting the stuff out. Obviously, he's helped Cameron Hill a lot with being able to progress him through the Porsche and get his sponsors. So, yeah, help from Lachlan Mansell, and then sometimes someone will contact me, and I'll give them a brief rundown, and then forward them on to Lachlan, and then we might have a phone conversation, the three of us, or an email or a conference like this, and then yeah. But there's obviously when you're getting results, it gets a lot of people interested. And I think that's one thing to take. Well, that's the thing what I've learned is with sponsors is if you're not really getting results, they're not interested. You can't really go to them with nothing. You got to go to them with something. So, yeah, since last year in Formula Ford when I started getting results, the interest has gone on the right trajectory. So yeah, as long as we keep building that for the next few years, we should be good.
Now I need to ask, has anyone contacted you trying to get in contact with Lockie for a date?
Not that I know of. He sort of does. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. The last time I saw him was at Sydney Motorsport Park, and he had a few dates with him, you could say. But yeah, his popularity's gone through the roof since that. So yeah, that's also probably been a blessing in disguise because his profiles boosted quite a lot as well, which has helped.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's all about that networking and who you know, and why not?
Exactly, yeah.
And what about the social media side of things? Is that something that you enjoy doing, or again, do you have somebody else assisting you with that?
Yeah, so I still do it, but with help from Lachlan Mansell. So if I have to post something that has a few words in it, like for example, if I have a tough weekend, I'll ask him how to word it correctly without saying, "Oh, the car was terrible," or stuff like that, without trying to offend. Yeah, without trying to offend anyone. So if I have a tough weekend, he'll help with that. And also if I have a good weekend, I'll ask him how to do it as well, not to hype it up too much.
Yeah.
But to also, sort of let everyone know the results, but obviously not hype it up too much because we've still got a full year ahead of racing. So, yeah, I do a bit of it, but also with help from Lockie as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. And do you have any special race rituals when it comes to race weekend? Like, do you have a funny pair of socks or a lucky pair of undies, or you put your gloves on in a certain order or anything like that?
I get in the car from the left-hand side. It might be hard from when I go to a Tim Top, but ever since Formula Ford, I've gotten in the car from the left-hand side. Nothing else in terms of, no, nothing else other than that. Oh, and the other thing was, I'm going to start doing it now because we did it at Sydney, is me and John, John helped a lot. We did a warm-up, so we go out. Well, I haven't done it ever before in my career and still I've gotten a little bit serious, but a warm-up, and it helps get me focused and that. And I would say that's probably another good ritual to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. And when it comes to learning these new tracks, how do you go about learning them? You mentioned before about doing some sim, but not obviously all tracks are on sims. So is it just you like doing a track walk? Are you YouTubing the track? There's drones, or how do you go about learning that track?
Well, usually, because the team has a good bank of footage from previous years from guys like Cameron Shields and Callum Williams, who know overseas. So I'll usually spend a good 40 hours before the event just looking at footage and data, because that's, in my opinion, that's more beneficial than this simulator, because the simulators are beneficial, but they're not fully realistic.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at footage, then if you have a big enough screen, then you can see if there's patches on the track or if there's markers that you're looking for. Because in the sim, it's just programmed to be flat, fresh, everything's correct. So I like to do footage. I do have a sim, but I'm not big on the sim.
Mm-hmm.
It's only if I'm feeling a bit bored, or I'll jump on it, or if I haven't driven for a while, I'll jump on it. But I'm not big on the sim. So yeah, just pretty much footage and data. If not, I'll FaceTime or Zoom John or Cameron, and they'll have a laptop up. They'll share their screen with the footage, and we'll go through it. And in terms of track walks, we don't really tend to do track walks because we sort of just turn up on I've never done a track walk in cars.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do track walks when I was in karting, but ever since I got to cars, it was sort of like, I've got Friday practice. If there's anything crucial, I'll just use the first session to do that. And that's another thing Cameron Hill taught me, it was just use the first session to go and find out all those little things. And that's what practice is for, really. So there's no really need to waste your energy on things you don't need to, like a track walk. And that's another thing I've learned, is saving energy. So we just try to do as little as possible when it comes to that. But yeah, big on the footage and the data.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Noah, you sound very committed and very focused on achieving your goals. One of the most I've heard of all these interviews that I've done. So congratulations. And I'm really excited about your upcoming future. However, do you have a plan B in case something does happen, or, your goals aren't achieved? I think they're going to be, without a doubt, but just in case, like, are you doing any other study, or are you thinking, like, in a few years to do, like, is it data engineering that you've got an interest in, or is it just driving? That's it right now?
No, that's it. That's plan Bs are for people that aren't fully committed, and that's in my opinion, not to sound arrogant or too rude,
Right.
but
I love it.
if you've got a plan B, then you're not focusing on the main goal. So if it does happen that I don't possibly get there, I just turn into maybe having my own team, Formula Ford, and nurturing young drivers like that, because I have I'm young, but I have a lot of knowledge to give through my 10 years of racing or whatever it is. So that's pretty much all in at the moment. But if something fails, then I'll work something out. I'm not too stressed. I'm pretty
job at hand.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Do you have a vision board?
No,
Mentally.
I just sort of go out there and do my thing like Jamie Whincup, do my prep during the week, rock up to the races, have a bit of fun, and hopefully come away with some trophies.
Fantastic. Oh, no, I love it. Thank you very much for being on a guest today. Is there anything else you want to end our conversation with?
No, just like to thank all my supporters, Case K Lubricants, GFX Traders, Main Glass, Window and Door Repairs, and Australian Formula 3. They're really running a good category this year. I'm really happy with how they run it. And AMRS as well for the TV coverage. It's been really great at round 1, and yeah, looking forward to round 2.
And where's that at?
Tail and Bend.
Yep. When?
March 20th to 22nd. Oh, no, what are you? January, February, March. April 22nd. Yes, in a month's time, April 22nd, 20th to 22nd.
Yeah, and if people want to follow your journey, which I highly recommend, where's the best place to follow it?
Facebook and Instagram. Facebook's just Noah Sands 65 Motorsport. Spaces in between Noah Sands, and then Instagram's Noah Sands _65 Motorsport, one word. So yeah, and then on Facebook, obviously Gilmore Racing Formula 3 and AMRS and Australian Formula 3. So yeah.
Awesome. I'll put all of those links in today's show notes. Make sure you go ahead and follow Noah. And our final question, pineapple on pizzas, yes or no?
I would have to say yes. I'd have to say yes. It's good in summer when it's like hot and you're a bit dehydrated and you get the pineapple. It's good.
I think so too. Again, Noah, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate hearing your story. It was fantastic. I can't wait to see what happens in the next 5 to 10 years. Again, everyone, get ahead and follow Noah. Thanks, Noah.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. How was that?
That was good.
Wonderful. See, like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah. Well done. Thank you. I'll send it to you
Thanks.
before it goes off.
Cool. No worries.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.